Ione Quigley is a graduate of Santa Agnieszka University, and she works with the St. Francis Indian School Lakota Curriculum Project. Welcome to Ione Quigley.
Wopila. It feels good to be back here. It's good to see different students. It's good to see the same people. It just feels good to be back here. It feels like home. Years back, I taught a couple of language courses here, the linguistics 1 and 2, and within those courses, I was able to come to the conclusion that if we are going to preserve our language, we actually need to make it relevant to our lives. So the key word to language preservation is actually relevancy. And with this thought in mind, a couple of years ago, when I went into the directorship of the language program at St. Francis Indian School, I decided that we are going to start talking. We will be talking, we will be asking questions, we will be addressing emotions, making statements, what have you. So with that in mind, we started out with phrases, and every month we would send out 20 phrases to the families, to the kitchen, to the bus, to the students, to everywhere that we could possibly see the students in every situation. So with this in mind, with all of this in mind, we were able to talk with Danny Walkenagel, the elementary principal, and it was her that actually came up with an idea, and that idea this past summer came to fruition when she secured the funding for it, and we were able to sit down, most of the language teachers and myself, Stella Whitehat, Shirley Witt, Julian Leadercharge, and at the time we had used Henry Quickbear, who was working right along with us. And with this, and Danny's funding, we came across a process to actually have our children talk, not just with one word in isolation, but actually to speak in sentences. And so the team sat down together one day, actually for a month, every day for a month, and we call this the Lakota Living Language Project. And again, you want to keep in the back of your mind the word relevancy, because all of what we came up with was relevant to the life of each child. St. Francis Indian School Lakota Living Language Project process. This project began with the idea that we needed to have resource materials in a room that revolved around the Lakota language. Gone are the days that the practice and preservation of the Lakota language that revolved around the Lakota language. Gone are the days that the practice and preservation of the language is done with one word in isolation, and that's what I found. We also began to look at the elongation of time spent on a language in the daily schedule instead of a 30 to 45-minute add-on. The thought is that we needed to have workbooks that were aligned to our new and improved Lakota language standards that were situational in nature, relevant to the daily lives of our students, and most importantly, they were conversational. And when we look at language and the purpose of language is really to communicate. So, in addition, the idea developed in so that we would ask the questions and give the students several answers, all in Lakota. In addition, we have listed the vocabulary words in Lakota that were pertinent to each unit and lesson. We began this month-long project with the end in mind. Understanding by design is a format that we use to raise this idea out of the Lakota language to put into our classroom to have a good start on what our vision was. And the second phase will be to record ourselves following the scope and sequence of our project to be put on CDs for our teachers, language staff, and students to use. This allows us to create a library of our language. This has always been the goal here at St. Francis Indian School, so that we can preserve the Lakota language and the knowledge of pronunciation of words that we use in our workbooks. Our emphasis was not on how to put diacritical marks. We just kind of felt at the beginning that there will be a time that when we come to that. But right now, we want the children to hear and to understand and to be able to converse back. We had to build a consensus between our project leaders, translators, and the Lakota language teachers for proper spelling, pronunciation, and use in our resources. The reason for this is that the designers and the Lakota language providers, we will be the ones to defend this project and its contents. And I will make one remark to that. I was at a Sadabi years back when Uncle Albert was still with us here. And when we got into a roundtable discussion with all of the language instructors and language teachers, this is what I actually observed, was that one person would stand up and say, well, this is the way I write it, this is the way my diacritic marks are, this is the way I speak it, and this is the right way. And then another person would stand up and say the same thing. Oh no, this is the right way. This is the way I say it, this is the way I write it, and this is the right way. Well, when I put it all together, everybody was right. Everybody. There is no wrong way when we're teaching the language. No wrong way. So, getting that across, let's go to the goals and the benchmarks. Our goals are, number one, to develop in our students the ability to understand Lakota phrases for conversation in different settings that they come into on a daily basis. What do we all do on a daily basis? We all eat, we sleep, we talk, we walk. All of the things that we do as a person or as an individual, and all of the things, we put that across in all of the things that a child would do, a student will do every day. They would go into a classroom, they would go into the commons area for their meals, and so on and so forth, playground. Okay, number two, to have a working knowledge of a variety of Lakota vocabulary so that their understanding of the language is at the very least, functional, that they can understand it. Number three, for our teachers to be able to use the standards, the assessments, and have a scope and sequence for alignment of their teaching of the Lakota language in a classroom setting. And number four, to provide our students a workbook of the Lakota language used in various settings and have a vocabulary base for which to understand our Lakota language. Now the benchmarks. Benchmarks will move upward as the project progresses. This has just been our first year, and proficiency is achieved. Number one, each student will perform orally and in assessment at a level of 30% or better in each situation or location, meaning the lesson or the unit. Number 2, each student will perform at a level of 30% or better cumulatively for all the lessons within a unit. Number 3, each student will perform at a level of 30% or better cumulatively for all the units assessed. Now, when we look at the overview of the project, in Strand 1, which we are now, we are naming that the Hokshichila Strand, beginning the talk. Strand 2, which will be coming up this summer, the Wakaija Strand, we will be learning the talk. Strand 3, the Koshkalaka Strand, we will be walking the talk. And Strand 4, Wichasha Strand, of course, we will be preserving the talk and the language. And here is one of the strands and what it looks like. The Okshichila Strand outline in Unit 1, we call it the classroom unit. So lesson 1, we introduce ourselves. Lesson 2, the classroom phrases. Lesson 3, classroom objects. Lesson 4, classroom commands. Then again, in Unit 2, we have the playground and the well-being. Lesson 1, 2, 3, and 4 there again. Unit 3, lunchroom food, because that is something that we do on a daily basis there. We have the lunchroom etiquette, cleanup, foods, lunchroom commands. Unit 4 is the home, because that is a very important part of, probably the most important part of a child's life. So in Unit 4, we cover home, cooking, family time, furniture, home commands. Unit 5, and this is a fun one, and this is actually the one that one of our language teachers just now covered. He said, well, my students were just a little bit bored with one of the other units, so I jumped up to Unit 5, because we can do any unit with the exception of Unit 1. We kind of want that to stay in the beginning. But the other units, we're saying go ahead and mix it up or whatever you want. So he went to Unit 5, and that is a really, really catchy subject for the younger people. Lesson 1, they cover basketball. Lesson 2, running. Lesson 3, football. Tapak apestola, we named that, the football. Okay, lesson 4, sports commands. And then, of course, the weather, which is part of everyone's life. Fall, winter, spring, and summer. Unit 7, we went into clothing, fall and winter, spring and summer. And then Unit 8, we cannot teach the language without teaching of the values. So we have respect, generosity, bravery, and wisdom. And this is what one unit, lesson 1 looks like, introduction of self. Taku inichapi he, for the female. Taku inichapi huo. And they will answer you their name and say machapi. Wanietu nitona he, I will ask. And the child will answer me, wana wanietu mashakpe, if he's 6. So we go through this, the introduction of self, and with that, establishing identity, and that's a pretty good lesson in itself. So we go into the vocabulary words, inichapi, wati, ate, wana, walawa, sapon, matrompi, kakala, han, nitron. These are words that we expect the child to understand. Now, with each lesson, we have assessments, and with this particular one, Unit 1, Lesson 1, Introduction of Self, this is the part of the auditory assessment. So we use with auditory CD of sentences in Lakota, or teacher says the sentence in Lakota. And the CDs that we have along with each unit, each lesson, they're working. They're working because we do have a teacher that is not proficient, but he's learning right along with the children, with the students, in saying these things And so actually, it's easy. Anybody can step in, get the CD and go to that unit in the teacher guidebook, go to that particular lesson, put the CD to that, and you have it. So the auditory assessment part of it is I live in, and the child will answer you. St. Francis El Wati or Rosebud El Wati. And then we ask them, my dad's name is, and they will turn around and tell you, Ate John Echapi. So right at the bottom here, we have the total correct answers scored. And with that, we're able to put them at emerging, put them at functional, or even proficient. Now, we just started the assessments not too long ago, so we're still trying to work out a few little bumps there. Now, the oral assessment goes something like this. Daku ini chapi he, and the child will answer you. Avery ema chapi. So he gets a yes for the response. Wanietu nitona he, wanietu mashakpe. He will answer, so he will get a yes. But if he doesn't know the third one, tukdeliati he, and he doesn't answer, then he gets a no. So we go back down to the total yes points scored, and then of course that will give you the emerging, the functional, or the proficient. So the project participants and the project director is not here today, Danny Wakanigo. The language development program is just really, really thankful to have her, and to have her think that the language is important enough for her to help us do this. And I want to leave you with a thought. You know, this morning we heard from Russell telling us that they have a proposed bill that they're going to terminate all the reservations. They're going to do away with all the reservations. And we know that they have put a lady in charge of education that does not value education. All she has behind her name is money. She doesn't value getting an education, but yet they have her there. And I really look forward to seeing educational cuts. And there might be a time when we don't even have to use the Maori's way of preserving our language, which is that they had proposed to all their tribal members that you either learn the language in a couple of years or you disenroll. Well, we probably don't have to do that. Trump will do that for us. Trump's going to say, if you don't talk, you're not native. And he'll downsize our tribe and our funding. And I believe that it's going to be here soon. We just need to be ready for that. And we at the school, at St. Francis Indian School, we're actually not really looking forward to it, but we're going to be ready. Nake nula umpikte. Are there any comments or questions? If not, I want to introduce a young man who will be working with us in creating an app, and I want him to demonstrate the app that we're going to be using. So we're really grateful to have him on board with us there, and we look forward to working with him even more. And you all know him, I'm very sure, Biagio Aroba.
Hello? Okay. So, my name is Biagio Roba. My mom is Sarah Roba. She's a Clifford. Her mom's a Colomb. My dad's Jamie Roba. My mom's from St. Francis. It's kind of nice because, you know, for me to have the opportunity to work on a project at St. Francis Indian School, it's just super exciting, where my mom's hometown is from. My dad's from Bolivia. I got to spend a little bit of time out there in the boonies. And I went to School of Mines for computer science degree, and worked in Omaha for a little bit, making websites for Expedia, Prince Global Sports, the United Way of the Midlands. Kind of had fun. I got to design a game for a website once. That was a lot of fun. But I started a business called Community Heritage Labs, and my goal is to try to help empower communities. Let's see here. So what I'm going to talk about is something I've been working on with Ione and Danny Walking Eagle, and it's these student-paced lessons, and part of it incorporates this idea of conversational Lakota, and so I'll kind of show how it all fits together, kind of talk about that a little bit. So one of the things that Danny had asked was for a program that provides their lessons, that's self-guided, that allows students to review conversations, kind of get familiarized with them, and then would do like self-guided quizzing and things to help the student assess how well they're learning. And then if you finish that, you can move on to the next level or the next lesson. So it's kind of like the model we're following is there's a software called Odyssey that a lot of schools use. So we're trying to make it like Odyssey. Now there's actually another thing that Danny's interested in, and the group over at St. Francis, and it's some activities for the younger kids, picture books, games, worksheets that have like audio, so you can kind of review things, and you know other applications. So one of the things though is that there's a bit of an issue, and one is the high costs. One of the things about the cost of designing something when it comes to programs, most developers, you're looking at about $40,000 to $70,000 for just one of these items here. And a lot of times developers, they do a per word, where they however many words, they'll put it together in an application. And they'll say, okay, you gave us this, these chapters, we put it together, here's your app. And that's just for one app. That's not for all of them. So app number 1, app number 2, app number 3. And you're talking about a lot of schools, they'll get started working with a developer and they'll do like a basic level 1. But it costs so much money, how are they going to do level 2, level 3? How are they going to do advanced levels? It's not affordable. So in my mind, what they need is they need more value for the budgets. Everybody has kind of limited budgets, and they need the ability to publish more. We don't have to wait 3 years till everything's all ready. Release a little bit at a time, materials as you work on them and provide them. Use them within the school as you're developing them, rather than waiting 3-4 years until it's all perfect. So the solution, in my mind, is to connect all of these applications together with a database. And this is kind of what we had talked about when I provided this tool that I've been working on to Danny, and she got really excited about it and wanted me to make sure to tell you guys how this works. So the idea is that the school can each school can be its own beacon, can have its own materials that can be developed. And in the school, when you're designing materials, so we have this thing called the database, and this is for Ione and Danny and the school to be able to use. You can organize all of your materials in the one database, and it can go out to all these other applications. So rather than paying a lot of money for one application, we make a very lightweight, very, just what they need for the programming, but then they can add more and more and more materials to it. And they can create a beginner, intermediate, advanced, and it's just all more, you can do more with it, I guess. And so when we say database, this is the program I'll be demoing that we have. So now if you look at these lessons here, we've got the top, which is an application for the 9th through 12th grade that allows them to have self-guided lessons, self-guided conversational lessons. Then the second activity, the second app is for K through 8 and provides a catalog for teachers of a variety of applications, a variety of games and activities for younger kids. So now you're getting more value. You get to do way more with your resources, and you get to reach more people with more content, and you can improve it as things progress, as time progresses. So one way to look at it is like ingredients and a recipe. So the applications are recipes, but the database is all the ingredients that you have. So is it vocabulary? Is it a selection of conversations? Is it a story? Is it a song? Is it a prayer? Is it a poem? Is it a grammar lesson? What are those pieces? And you can have all those ingredients that you can put together, and then the recipes are the different ways the students can use it. So if I'm in the high school, I may be using an application like Odyssey to look at the same stuff that some of the kids that are in the K through 8 are at, but they're interacting with it in a different way. So, okay, so one of the ideas about this method is that it's author-driven, community-driven. It uses this idea of a hub and spoke. So the hub is, the school has its resources, and the spokes are the applications. You can have a lot of variety. So you can, for instance, every classroom could have its own mini lesson just for that class or for that course. You can have greater reach because there's going to be different ages, different grade levels, different audiences that can have easier access through a variety of apps. And you can have greater longevity. So if you look at like projects in the past, it might have been a CD that was made or some materials that were printed, and there was 100 copies, but then that's sort of the end of the copies. And what happens with taking that same content and carry it on and providing it to new students every year, because every year is going to be new students. And so you can have greater reach and more longevity by having an application that kind of stores everything and allows you to share it in different ways. So I'll do a walkthrough of the student-paced lesson, kind of how we're thinking about it. And then I'll show you the database, kind of what the database looks like. So this walkthrough is more visual on the PowerPoint, and then the database I'll actually log in and kind of show you around. So the idea is in an Odyssey-like application, you get to see what the units are. So you're at Unit 1, you log in, you get taken to the listing of lessons. You're at Unit 1, and you can see here that Lesson 1 and 2, you've already been through those, and you're at Lesson 3, classroom objects. So clicking on that lesson will take you to a review. So across the top, we have the different conversations, conversation 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we've got the vocabulary that's associated with that, and the quiz. And this is kind of similar to the way Odyssey does things. So we have like woapi glushtanhe, or glushtanho. And then the response would be ha woapi chamu, or hia woapi chamushni. And so it's like asking if you're doing your work. Yes, I'm doing my work. No, I'm not doing my work. Something like that. And then each of these sentences, there's audio that goes with it. And that's the thing, is that the focus is on audio. So the writing is more of a guide, and it can always be improved because we have a database where we can improve it later. can always make adjustments. But what you'll get when you go to this review is you'll actually hear it. You'll actually hear the audio with each one. And you can click on that sentence and it would play the audio over again so you can listen to it until you get comfortable and familiar with it. Then there's the vocabulary. When you move on to the vocabulary, you can see the different words that were associated with those conversations. Glushta, Ichamu, Wapi. And then there's a quiz. So the way the quiz works, we're going to have more than one. These are self-guided quizzes, but the way it works is that we provide you with a question or a sentence, and you provide the correct response. So for example, Wapi ya glushta ho, and that is a question, and then what would be the correct response? Is it, taku ichiu wachi? Or is it, wapi chamu? Or is it, mataya yelo? So which is the correct response? So picking the correct response would then show that you understand what the first sentence is asking for. So if you pick like, wapi chamu. Okay, so that's kind of the idea about how the self-paced lessons would work. And this is very similar to the way Odyssey works, which is software that's being used in the schools. And we're designing this as a very lightweight application. It's sort of like rather than making a skyscraper, you make kind of a taco stand, and then you grow from there. So there's lots of room for improvements and whatnot. It's very affordable. So I'll show you the data entry portion. I have to go to a website here. So I'm going to go to sfis.bookletbuilder.com. And this is a place for the lessons to get created and organized. And as part of this project, we'll be loading all the lessons in advance, and then the instructors can make adjustments and add new ones and things like that. So one of the first things I'll show at the top is, for an organization that is creating content, if they want, they can have, whether it's Osage, Ponca, Lakota, Inupiaq, they can have a selection of letters across the top where you can actually use that as a quick access to type in those special characters you may need. And another thing to notice is that the fonts load automatically. So you can go to any computer in any computer lab, on your laptop, wherever, and you will see all the letters by using this application. You don't have to install anything special, it's just there. I'm going to log in here. Hopefully I remember to log in. Let's see. Let's try this. Let's see. Let me show you. I'm going to show you a different one here. Okay. So here's one we have for St. Francis Indian School. And let's see, let me try one more. Don't quite remember my password is on that. I'll have to look it up. But I'll show you one that we did for the Ponca. And when you log in, you have a profile as a teacher who is creating content to be able to see and experiment with new lessons. When you create a lesson, it doesn't necessarily go up online. It's only in your personal account to try out. You can look at other lessons that other people have worked on. And it kind of allows you to collaborate as a department. You can even give logins to whoever you want to collaborate with. And then the name for these, I'm calling them booklets. And the reason I call them booklets is because it's a metaphor that kind of helps people think about how to organize what they're putting together. So the way you would create a new booklet, if I click on a booklet, just to show you, you see the title, and then on the right there's places to add like a pronunciation guide, vocabulary. You can add conversations and sentences, narratives, and these can be used to put together like songs and stories and grammar lessons. But to create one, you hit add content, and then you pick booklet. So I'm going to add a booklet. You can give it a title. So I'll just do like a booklet, which is a demo. Save. Okay, now once you create your booklet, on the right, there's a place for adding the different pieces. So I'm going to add a conversation. You can choose like if there's a specific gender associated with that particular conversation, and then provide a, let's see here, in like, you know, you could do like, so the, oh, this is the title for the conversation. I'm just going to hit save. So once I create the conversation, there's a placeholder for it, and now I can append the different parts of the conversation. Yeah, you got to add a character here. Let me go back and add a, something I forgot. What you do when you add a conversation is you have two or more people that are conversing. So if I go to add content, you can add a textbook character. And when you add a textbook character, you use like male or female. And what happens is when you go to add your conversation, you pick who's talking. So I'm just going to go back to that booklet. And when I go to append, I would pick like, okay, Joe says, and then I would type in, you know, what Joe said, and maybe the translation in English. There's a place to record the audio, and then you just hit save. So that's basically all there is to it, to adding to the database. That's it. Everything you see here is all that's needed. And it doesn't have to be just the Lakota language instructors that are doing this. You know, you could do it on paper, and you could have students or media people that can help enter the content in, enter the materials in. So that's a demo of the data. All right. Let's see how we go to slideshow. All right, and then actually there's the activities. So just to go back as an example here. So I showed you a walkthrough of the lessons on the top. We talked about the database, and I showed you what that looks like. You can have multiple logins. And then I'll give you an example of the activities that teachers can use to share with the students throughout the day. So I'm just going to go back to that. Okay, so in this example, I'm going to show you something that I worked on with the Ponca in Nebraska. Oh, one thing is I have a website called Community Heritage Labs, www.community-hl.com, and I have these slides up there too, so you can always go there and download the slides. So here's just kind of an example of some activities. Let's say, now for St. Francis Indian School, you might have a lot more materials that are conversational. Along with those conversations, some of it has vocabulary, but for the most part, it's very conversational. So the activities you see would be more conversational. But the activities I'm going to show you here, I'm just going to go through a vocabulary list just so you kind of get the idea of how it works. So if I'm a teacher, maybe I'm in teaching natural resources, or I'm teaching about plants and animals or something like that. You know, you could go to one of these booklets and just pull up like a storybook. And the storybook allows you to sort of flip through some different animals so you could present it to the kids in the classroom. The audio right. I'm going to hit play. Do you hear that?
Shinuda, Inglonga, Moschinke.
So this all came from the resources that were developed at the Ponca tribe several years ago, but we've sort of kind of dusted it off and put it onto the system and allow the opportunity for teachers to go and share this. This is in Ponga. And then there's another way of actually interacting with the same activity that the teachers could guide the students with. And here's just like a game. Now every piece of content could be different and tailored to that particular classroom. And there's no additional charge. There's no per word fees or anything. Once you have the system, you can create as much of this as you want. If anything, like for instance, I could be on hand for support in data entry or providing training or whatever assistance is needed, but it's going to be way, way more affordable because you can have as much unique pieces of content that you want to create.
Denuga, Moschinke, Shinuda, Inglonga, Moschinke.
I forgot where it's at. There goes my memory. There we go.
Inglonga.
This is an example of an activity. So the idea is the work that you're doing, it's you want the most number of people in your audience to be able to use the efforts that you do. If you spend some time putting together a lesson or you spend some time recording something, you want the most number of people to use it. Nobody creates something saying, oh, there's going to be one person that will use this. We want more people every year after year to use it. And so, an application like this provides that greater access. Okay, so just in kind of a recap, sort of, this project overall is community-driven at St. Francis Indian School with the teachers there working on developing content. It's conversational. One of the things I think is really impressive is they tied together the content with the assessments. They're doing those kind of hand in hand. And in the engineering world, this is called agile. And this is actually something that's revolutionizing industry, and it's stuff that they're applying here at the school. And it's like, wow, that's really cool. So they call it agile. And what agile is you create something and you have a plan for assessing at the same time. And what's really interesting is that when you open a textbook up, you may see one little snapshot of that textbook, whatever they're going to teach. Whether it's a car or a rabbit or here's how you say something. But that's not life. That's not out there. That's not the complexities of what you're going to experience when you're listening to people speak Lakota or you're trying to have a conversation. And so by having these conversational topics, it allows the school to actually bring up more examples that you may not experience with just a textbook that's like a grammar book alone. So there's actually something you can get here with the work that they're doing that you can't just get somewhere else. So I'm pretty excited about it. And the focus is on audio, working with elders. It provides a megaphone. So this isn't necessarily replacing the lessons, it's allowing the teachers that are working on teaching to do more of what they're doing and reach more people over and over again. And then this is something that can reach all the classrooms in different topics, and it can be instant. As soon as you make an improvement or you add a new topic, that's going to be instantly available for others to use. And then I think overall this is a better value. So that's the project. Thank you.
And that is from the Language Development Program at St. Francis Indian School. If you have any questions, you can call there at the school and ask for one of us, and we'll answer to the best that we could. Wopila, wopila tkanka.
Thank you for having us. That was good. That's really an exciting project. I'd like to thank St. Francis Indian School for coming and presenting their language program for us. It's really exciting to see new ways in which our children are learning the language. At this time, I'd like to introduce Rodney Bordeaux. Rodney's the past president of the Rosebud Sioux Tribe. He is currently working as the executive director of St. Francis Mission.
Sorry, I wanted to mention something I almost forgot. So it's really cool, all the ideas that everybody has here. They're bringing a lot of really good information. So I thought I would kind of toss out something real quick. I'll be really quick, Rodney. Sorry about that. Okay. Fundraising idea. This is just food for thought, but I'm just so excited about hearing all these ideas. I thought maybe I would suggest one also. So one of the issues with language is always funding, and there's this interesting law in Nebraska. It's a beautification law, and what they do is if you construct a building in Nebraska, a certain percentage of that, I don't know if it's like 20% or 10% or what, a certain percentage that has to go to making the building look nice with paintings and artwork and whatnot. It's a beautification law. So the food for thought is the tribe could have a law that says any budgets that get proposed for funding should have a portion of that pays for Lakota education, Lakota language education. And you could tie it directly to that program that's being funded, and that would be a great funding source for the Lakota language department. So that's just food for thought. Even departments could do that. So like at Sinte Gleshka University, for instance, they could say, any of the other departments, if you're going to apply for a grant, make sure a certain portion of that budget goes towards Lakota studies. And then that department would then, pay Lakota studies as for a service. And that would be, I guess, a way to do fundraising for those departments. So just food for thought, anyway.
Thank you, Sherry. My name is Rodney Bordeaux. I'm from St. Francis Mission, and hope you all can hear me back there. We have such a big crowd today. Very, very enlightening. Yeah, I just wanted to make that comment. But this is really good. I like the opportunity to come here at these Founders Days, and I came here as president, and it's an opportunity for the community to really help Sinte Gleshka grow. And in my current capacity, working with strategic planning, and we've been doing that at St. Francis Mission for a number of years now, and I'm glad the university is doing that and developing an overall plan for the tribe, because it really keeps you focused in what you want to do, and you're going to always have the ability to look back at that plan and revive it, or revise it every 2 or 3 years or 5 years. So it's a good process, and I'm glad this opportunity came about, because St. Francis Mission has been on the Rosebud since 1884. Through the strategic planning process, when I came aboard in 2012, there was 7 major goals that the mission had adopted, and it was quite extensive, so we kind of narrowed it down to just a couple of goals. And primarily, we did that because it allows you to be more focused in your efforts to do what you're doing. And over the years, with decreasing budgets, not only federally, tribally, but when you look at a Catholic Indian mission, or like St. Francis Mission, Red Cloud Mission, or whatever missions you have throughout the United States, they depend entirely on donations from individuals out in the throughout the United States. And as the baby boomers, which I'm a generation of, as they age, they have a lot of their gifts are, you know, they would leave you wills, or and that type of giving is changing. The new age of giving is a lot different. So we have to change with that time, but it has affected us on a budget-wise, so we have to be more effective in how we spend our budget. So the strategic planning it kind of lends to that. It offers that opportunity to be more focused and to allow you to spend your money a lot better. And with SGU doing this, it's going to make them more effective as well. And I'm hoping one day that the tribe can get into the strategic planning to be more effective in services to the tribal people. So in line with the questions that all the programs were asked to talk about, they asked about our goals. So St. Francis Mission, we concentrated on 2 goals that we're going to deal with in the next 5 years. The first goal is to increase the awareness, appreciation, outreach, and participation of St. Francis Mission programs and the Catholic Church in the communities we serve. The second goal, enhance and develop partnerships with private and public organizations, including federal, state, the Rosebud Sioux tribe, and the communities, to support and serve the Lakota people and others living in our communities. So through those goals, we have 8 programs. And basically the oldest program that's ongoing has been going on since probably when the mission was established was the parishes. And right now we have 3 parishes that have dwindled down over the years. More transportation, so dealing with that, a lot of the older rural churches were closed, like Upper Cutmeat, up in Swift Bear, up in Wood, up in Bad Nation. So it comes down to 3 churches that we're serving now. One is St. Charles, is the big church in St. Francis, St. Bridget's Church in Rosebud, and St. Agnes Church in Parmley. The Catholic Church here in Mission is part of the Rapid City Diocese. So, but these three parishes are run entirely by the Jesuits and funding through the donations. The other program is the religious education program, and that's been ongoing for a number of years now. And then that program provides religious instruction to elementary students at the He Dog, Spring Creek, Rosebud Elementary, St. Francis Indian School. And it's been ongoing, developing. We just got back into St. Francis Indian School. It's held during the day, and it's, I think we see close to 500 students. The third program that's been ongoing for a number of years, Biko Lakota Memorial Museum, and that's has a lot of artifacts at in the museum. And the sad fact is a lot of our people don't know about it, but it has a lot of material going way back to the late 1800s, and there's a lot of reading materials where someone can come in and do a lot of research on what happened back early on reservation days. So it's a resource that we're going to really push and get out there more often and get it out to the public. And a lot of the only people that really come there are the St. Francis Indian School students, some of the Todd County Elementary students. So there's a rich history there. So, and I was talking to Russell Legalbear earlier, you're kind of working with the tribe, and also the Heritage Center is that we're going to probably work closely together to get that exposure out there more. The other programs we have are the recovery program, dealing with alcohol and family recovery, how it affects the family, and the kind of getting into the meth type of a problem that is dealing on a reservation now. It's a growing program, and we're going to develop into that area. One other one that's started in 2012 was a suicide and crisis line. There's a number that you call, and you get individual tribal members helping each other out in your grieving process, or if you're feeling down and out and contemplating suicide. This line helps directly with that. And that's have about 9 volunteers that answer the phone, and it's a 24/7 operation. The big one is also KNI, which is a FM station here on the Rosebud since 1978. A couple of new programs that we have are the dental program, which was started in 2012, and to date we've seen 1,412 patients at our dental clinic in St. Francis. So we rely on volunteer dentists throughout the state of South Dakota that volunteer from the South Dakota Dental Association. They come in and volunteer their time. So it's a free service, but also if you have insurance or Medicare, Medicaid, that type of stuff, insurance, to date there's probably 900,000 in billable services provided through the dental clinic. So, and it's also expanding. We work currently with Creighton University. That's when we initially started out. Creighton University is a Jesuit college down in Omaha. They have a dental program. They send up dentists dental students about 3 times a year. Just recently, we got in with Indiana University, and they have a program that provides dentures. So those of you in need of dentures, stop on over. And it's a free service again, and that one's really expanding. We're working with the University of Nebraska-Lincoln as well, and we're going to develop a relationship with them. So as we go forward with St. Francis, the dental clinic, there's opportunity to just get better. And the problem we're having now is, just the funding issues. So the main thing is volunteer dentists and the opportunities that they provide. So we're going to continue that on. So in regard to the priorities that we have listed here, all of our goals within our strategic plan, I'll leave it with Sherry so there'd be more, I guess, pinpoint stuff as to what you need for your our goals or priorities. The workforce requirements, every one of our programs has a need here, and they want to work with and partner with St. Iglesia University for our training needs. For example, Sapu Catholic Academy, we have 25 students there, and one area that we really need SGU's help in, and currently collaborating with, our head teacher is a graduate of SGU, but she cited professional development in the areas of credits for recertification. We're also looking for Lakota language teachers. We want to collaborate with the Lakota Studies Department to, make our school a lot better, strengthen our cultural program there. With the dental clinic, we're looking at opportunities to develop our medicals records. We need transcription and billing. That's a service that SGU in their medical nursing program can provide. Provide more dental health education to SGU's nursing students, make it part of their curriculum, and have an avenue for the nursing program students to volunteer and participate during active volunteer clinics. So there's some good opportunities that we can work together with the dental program. And the collaboration with the master's program here at SGU through our dental program can also really take off. The museum, Biko Memorial Lakota Museum, there's a lot of opportunities for collaboration. And Marie Kilsenside's our director there, and she's currently working with the Heritage Center, so that's continuing and developing an opportunity there. We want to also work with other Indian museums. Red Cloud Indian School has a Heritage Center as well. The Akta Lakota Museum up in Chamberlain. And we also have a relationship with the American Indian Museum at Smithsonian. They provide some training programs, and I know they've come here, so the opportunities are greatly enhanced in regard to that possibility. The workforce requirements, as SGU, the trainings, they offer training in collection, proper care of collections, valuable to manage the museum's everyday operation, climate control, all those activities. And also within the tribe, I know the tribe has a lot of tie-in with here, is working with them to develop a museum as well, so that they have, I know there's a lot of opportunities for different museums wanting to give a lot of stuff back to the tribe, and our museum can play a key role in developing a museum for the tribe. A little bit about St. Francis. We have 25 employees. We have 9 managers there, and they're all Lakota, all from the tribe. I think I was counting, maybe 6 of them have gone to the university, gotten their degrees here. And we want to continue to develop a relationship, and I think St. Iglesia University, how we can all work together is paramount, because this planning process that they're engaging in is going to be an opportunity that all of our future generations can benefit from. It'll make our programs a lot stronger, delivery of our services a lot better. So I want to commend and thank St. Iglesia for this opportunity to collaborate and also to give our assistance as needed, Sherry. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rodney. We are really looking forward to collaborating with St. Francis Mission on a number of these projects. Thank you for the ideas for possible workforce development. Thank you. I want to thank everybody for sticking it out with us. The audience is pretty sparse, and it looks like it's kind of a nice day outside. So I think we're going to call an end to this day. This is the end of our forums for this year. We've got a lot of good ideas. We appreciate the people who have been here and those who have participated online with us. A word, be kind to each other, be gentle with each other, show each other compassion, show each other love, and be at peace with yourselves. I know this morning we talked about Dakota Access Pipeline kind of being a sure thing, but the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers still has a call out for public comment, and that public comment period ends February 20th. So if you really believe in that water is life, and that we really need to protect our water resources, I encourage you to write a letter to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and comment before February 20th. Thank you all for coming, and at this time I'd like to ask Francis Cutt to say a closing prayer for us. Tonight is the student recognition here in the gym beginning at 6:30. There will be entertainment. Tanya Jo Hall will be performing here. We'd like to invite you to come and honor our students and share a meal with us.
Ho ai wopila hea woche ke wansi hoi e prinktelo hoi am petu ata hoi abu choye na instaku akia peke lena ya wopila hecha heon hoa cheun ke aktolom hoi atron kashila hea am petu ihunia ho taku ke apina on kiuksan peke lena atron kashila on kitio stepo ho hechel oai on katio ke le taha hoi ataku I kiak sapapi, na kiuk sapi na iapi kena na kabele sapi. He na trokata kia wachiu yampi ktelo. Ho chanke apetu kele o kihiu yampo aya he chekchi le hoye walo. Ho yung kaya wana wichoch eun kigena kapi. Ho na haya ke wani etu wansi unkamani piktelo iuskia. O chaet honkas ela onke apen onsila po hechela ke wanet onsi iuha ake zania monki chianka piktolo. Honon galape kilel amon kapo, hotagani sitesni, tiata yuskea, kinasin pictolom. Hona is ea kean petu kilel, hoja tona kak isapi, na joti ekiapi kilena el onsivitsalajo. Hona eman kavita kilel, hoja tuktogna stektöön atkhon kasvita. Ho onkia po, ho hetsele ake iuskean konjan pictolom. Hona ea tona o kuseti pektach papi. Na iska kisapi tiata lena vuokie vichak o na wakhansa vicham hapi lena na istha kosa olena onsi vichakila jo ampetukela jo. Ohetsenis ja hena ob hoja ke oma khamasi on kamani piktalo hotsan kel onkia po. Han ärle tona on hipi na wanang ompi. Niistä kun kiuksampi kilena ho onkia po. Aataksele sin tegeleska oaja vaan katia kilel. Ho tona el onjampi. Näis tona el vaasit sompi. Näis vajavaki lena ho el onkia po ampetu kilel. Ho nachtaat wa ukela vankila kapo. Ho etsela ke ampetut hoket on selektiivski on kinasin piktalo. Ho ea is ampetu kilel. Kun käsillä hoitsit siellä onsimakalla jo mitäkö eäsi.
Are you on the agenda to pray tonight? Are you on the agenda for tonight?
Yeah. See if the lady's ready to come.
Yeah, I got a call. I don't know. I think Sammy's teaching till 4, so
7?
it's at 6:30 is supper.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she had her, that medicine they give her for her cancer.